The following podcast is a Dear Media production.
Does anyone actually know what's going on here?
I literally have no idea. Help.
We're 20 whatever. Hi, hey, and hello. Welcome back to 20 whatever. And what we have lovingly shorthandedly dubbed the Momcast. I am joined today by Kenzie and Rachel. Kenzie, mom of two, was on the last episode talking about my birth story. Rachel, brand new mom. Welcome to the club.
Oh, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Excited to have you. You did the little like mini episodes that we did right for 20 whatever with the team in Palm Springs,
In Palm
right?
Springs, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I was there. I had purple hair in case people are confused.
That's right. But this is your first time like on the couch.
I'm
full
on the
force.
couch. I believe I'm the first not 20 whatever to be on the 20 whatever couch.
Last week,
Oh,
we had
Steven.
Steven. He beat you out by 1 week.
Literally, Steven and I are fighting. God, of course. I was so proud to say that. And of course he would take that from me. It's fine. Whatever.
Putting the whatever in 20 whatever. It's important work.
But yeah, thanks for, I am a new mom. So I don't have a lot of experience, but honestly, I'm here to learn and take some notes from you guys.
Yeah, while Ryan and P are out this week, I thought it would be fun to just sit down and talk about motherhood and parenting, maybe a little bit about birth, postpartum, and just kind of info dump on like everything that we've experienced.
Answer some questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm an open book. It's too open, to be honest, but I'm ready.
We love that. The internet loves that.
I guess a good place to start. How has your adjustment to parenthood been? 3 months now.
Three
you doing?
and a half months. It's been good. I mean, I'm so in love with my baby. It's like, it's really something that I never expected or understood. And, I mean, I knew I was going to like love my kid, but I just literally would die for this little baby. And I don't know. It's mostly just me and him all day. And so it's been a lot of adjustment. My life is completely different, but, I don't know. I've just been really happy. So it's been really good.
That makes me so happy to hear.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like when you see a friend stepping into motherhood, you know, like, the good and the bad that are going to come with it. You know, you're like, oh, I'm so excited for you. Like, it's going to be so amazing. But also, like, on the other side, knowing how hard that is.
Yeah.
And I do feel like it's a balance when you're both online and, like, and real life, when you're watching people step into that and wanting to, like, be honest and prepare them, but also not wanting to, like, scare them or make them think it's all bad.
Right.
You know?
I think, yeah, I think we had a healthy dose of both before it happened, but I don't think truly anything really prepares you. I think I had a lot of knowledge because I read so many books and I took so many classes, and then all of a sudden the baby was in my hands and I forgot everything, and I've just been learning something new every day. And I don't know. I think it's just something that you, as much as you prepare for it, you really can never be prepared until it happens to you.
Well, and your instincts kind of take over at some level too, right? Like you kind of get to know your baby. You get to know like what works for them, what works for you. You guys kind of like figure it out together. So you can do as much prep as you want, but until your baby's there, like you really just don't know how it's going to be. You kind of just figure it out together.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. Thank you for putting it in better words. No, actually though, that's perfect.
Yeah. That like stressed me out the first time too, because as like a very type A person, I'm like, just tell me exactly what to do. Like,
Right.
just tell me what I'm going to do for this, for that, for this. But there isn't one way to do it. And you really do have to figure out not only what works for you, but for your baby. And you two are like really learning it together.
Yeah.
You three, hopefully, if your partner's involved.
Right. Right.
So it's like, it's this thing of no matter how much you want to prepare, like you can only be so prepared, and you're really just thrown into it, and they really just let you leave the hospital with this little human, and you're like,
Really?
They're just like, see ya, good luck.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, can one of you guys come with me to the nurses? No, it's kind of like that. I'm also a type A, like data-driven person, and I was very much expecting myself to like be recording all of his naps and his, you know, going to the bathroom and everything on an app and like being all about it. But I never ended up doing that, and I've just been kind of like reading him in a way that I didn't think was going to be possible. And that's just one of those things where it's like, you just don't know until they're in front of you. But it's been great.
it's good. I'm so glad.
And our babies are only 2 weeks and 2 days apart.
Isn't that freaking crazy?
It's been wild. So you're going through the same exact, like literally same exact steps, stage by stage. We are right in there together with our babies. It's just that you've done it before.
Yeah. No, it's so cool to like get to go through that together, and then like with Grace, she is only 7 weeks older than Harrison, Kenzie's youngest. So like with my first, I really got to go through it with you and like see how you did everything and be like, oh my God, and we still do that. Like, oh my God, are you going through this right now? Because this is hell. And I just dealt with all of this crazy shit today. And so it's cool getting to do that with you on the newborn side too.
Yeah, it's nice having someone who also has a baby, because I am actually the only person in my friend group that has, like in my LA friend group that has a baby.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to like text you and be like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I remember you texted us when he was like shortly after he was born, and you were like, hey, so I'm like trying to get out of the house and go on walks, but I truly don't understand. Like, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
It's hot, but I have to keep him shaded. And how do I keep him like cool?
We both responded at like the same exact time. We were like, a fan.
Stroller fan.
And I was like, oh, right. But literally, I needed someone to ask. I was like, he seems warm. What do I do?
Right.
Obviously, I should get a fan. Yeah. No, but it's nice. It's nice to have that.
Yeah, my sister-in-law has a son who is like pretty much the same age as Alice and August. And so she's always asking me, you know, things. And then the follow-up question is always, and how did you know that? Like, who told you that? My answer every single time, Kenzie. She's like, what sound machine did you get? This one. Because Kenzie told me to. What sleep sacks did you use? This one.
This one.
Because Kenzie told me to.
That's cute.
Yeah. So I'm just slowly trickling down your knowledge to everyone I know.
Well, hopefully it's good knowledge.
It is.
No pressure. No pressure.
No, you really are like my parenting role model.
Oh, stop.
Like
my gosh, I need to come on the podcast more often. Both of these are different. It's just so nice.
It's true. You are like such a good mom, and I look up to you so much with that, and like the patience that you have with your kids, but the way that you're able to like still hold boundaries and still be loving and like balance all of that, because it is such a balancing act. And on top of that, you're so knowledgeable and experienced. I just feel like I'm like, you know how people are like, WWJD, like, what would Jesus do? I'm like, WWKD.
Oh my God.
What would Kenzie do?
That's so
really sweet.
nice. That's really so nice. I feel like being a mom is the most important thing to me. It's what I've always wanted, and I don't take anything more serious than I do that. So that's really, and it's hard, you know, you don't always feel good about yourself as a mom. It's like hard. You question if you're doing things right and if, you know, whatever. So that's really nice to hear. Thank you.
And it shows in your kids too. You have like just, obviously I adore your kids, but they really are just like objectively like amazing human beings.
Thank you.
And that comes from like you. That all stems from you.
Guys, oh my gosh, I'm blushing. Stop. Seriously, stop. I can't handle it.
Also, you're like so hot and so cool.
And
like,
you have the juiciest ass.
The tape. It's got the tapes.
Well, I feel like also we haven't addressed the fact that we're in matching sweatshirts.
Oh, right.
So, yes, we are in fact matching. There will be a Schultzzie Collective video where Kenzie and Rachel stole my credit card, and that will be coming out next week.
Spoiler alert, we got matching sweatshirts.
Yes. And it was so kind of you guys to include me on that.
Well, girl, of course. It has Mickey on it. Well, were we like not going to get Sierra
And
one?
also, you can't give us all this credit about how kind it was. It was your money.
That's true. That's so true. That's so true. I was ready to
It's the
accept
least
it.
we could do.
So generous.
Giving queens.
All right, real quick, we're going to take a break and hear a word from our sponsor. Today's episode of 20 Whatever is sponsored by Cotton. Cotton's The Fabric of Now campaign is challenging everyone to make the natural choice, to give yourself enough room to breathe so you can be more intentional. Cotton as a fabric is soft, it's breathable, it's comfortable. It feels like laying in a grassy field with a perfect summer breeze. It's that ease of finding a gentle place to settle in and just be. Cotton is natural and comes from the earth, so it does not contribute to microplastic pollution. It's also hypoallergenic, so it's gentle on your skin. And cotton is versatile. It's long lasting. Personally, I have cotton pieces in my closet that I've had for years and years that have held up so well and are just some of those pieces that I still reach for over and over again because they're just so soft and comfortable. I love me a good cotton t-shirt. It's like the perfect staple. Also, there's nothing like a light and breezy cotton dress in the summertime. And on those days when I am just standing in front of my closet with no idea what I should wear, it's always my cotton button-ups that I reach for, my go-to. It's a choice that I know I'll feel comfortable and good in all day long. If you're looking to incorporate cotton into your closet, home, or lifestyle, make sure to check out the Shop Cotton section of thefabricofourlives.com and discover the fabric of now at thefabricofourlives.com. Well, while we are hanging on the couch in our matching sweatshirts, shall we answer some viewer questions about motherhood?
Ooh, yes.
Please, we need some structure.
Motherhood in our 20s and early 30s.
Early 30s.
20 and whatever.
20 and whatever.
Okay. Have you had to set boundaries with family members? And if so, how did you do it?
Ooh.
I mean, I have an immediate answer, but I can let you go.
What's
first.
your answer?
Yes. Only because, so obviously I have the least experience out of the two of you, but I have anxiety just in general. I'm a really anxious person. And I think the thing I was most anxious about was like people being around my newborn before I got to know him at all. This being my first kid, I just didn't know what to expect. And so my hard boundary was I didn't want anyone around us for the first 2 weeks of his life. And I didn't want anyone holding him like without a mask for the first 2 months. And that was really hard for my parents and specifically to understand. I don't know if they really wanted to like be at the hospital. I think my mom did, but it was just not going to happen. I didn't want anyone who wasn't my husband at the hospital. I didn't want anyone in my house. The idea of having to like host people was very stressful for me. So I would say like that was the biggest boundary that I set that people were not okay with. And you know, I'm really glad that I stuck to it though, because those first 2 weeks were so crucial for me and Mario and August to like all get to know each other and understand how incredibly different our lives were about to be. But I maybe would do it differently for the next kid, but I'm really glad that I did it that way. That being said, it was like a lot of broken hearts in the family. And I was just like, I simply don't care. This is my first child and this is what I want. And I just had to keep repeating that over and over and over again.
That is a hard boundary to set. And the fact that you were able to like stick to it though,
Yeah.
you know, like that's amazing that your children are going to have a mom that is so willing to upset other people for what she believes is best for not only herself, but like her kids. That's honestly great.
You're right. It is really hard to accept compliments.
No, seriously, I'm really proud of you for that. And not only was that so important for you, like in those 2 weeks, right, to have that time and make you and your new family unit of 3 the priority, but that also does set a precedent to the family of like, I'm going to parent the way that I want to parent and you're going to respect it if you want to be involved.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because I do feel that way. It definitely set a precedent that I didn't even expect, you know, family to like kind of have their own opinions on this. I've just never really thought about it. But now that I have a kid, it is apparent that every member of my family has their own way on how they think kids should be raised. And those ways haven't really been updated since 1993. So I'm glad that I did set that precedent because now I'm like, no, actually, this is how we do things. And kids sleep on their back or whatever it is. And my parents specifically are like, what? You slept on your stomach? And I'm like, read a book. I don't know. But like, I can't tell you. But this is how we're doing things. And I think because of the 2 week thing, they definitely take me a lot more seriously. They're like, oh, she will just straight up take this baby away. So I better do as she says.
Isn't it funny how parents are like, well, you turned out fine. I'm like, fine isn't my goal.
Right, literally. Like, I want him to do more than just survive.
Yeah. Fine isn't my goal. And also, we shouldn't base it on me, please. Like, come on.
Literally.
Making my therapy appointment now.
I feel like one of the hard things about setting parenting boundaries with your own parents is, and also just like asking them to talk to your child in a certain way or care for your child in a certain way is I feel like sometimes it can come across as like a critique on their parenting. Like,
yes.
And sometimes it is.
And sometimes it is, right? It's like, hey, I really didn't like the way this thing was. But so much of parenting is like kind of processing the way that you were parented. Because that's really the only basis you have to go on. And being like, okay, I really liked the way my parents did this, or I really definitely don't want to do this thing. And that's one thing to go through on your own. And then another thing to be like communicating to them.
Be like, sorry, but you actually, can we say the F word?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Say it. Say fuck.
Be like, sorry, but you actually really fucked me up. So things are going to be a little different this time around.
That part. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was in the hospital with Grace, I had a lot, even outside of the hospital, the first couple months, I had really bad postpartum anxiety. And I'm not an anxious person, so anxiety is not a feeling that I was used to feeling. Like, I was so ready for, like, postpartum depression. Like, bring it on. I know what depression feels like. Like, I know what to do. Obviously not bring it on. Ideally, no. But I was prepared, equipped, almost assumed that I was going to have it. Which I didn't, which was awesome. But postpartum anxiety, I was like, what is this feeling? And why am I terrified at all times that something horrible is going to happen to my baby? So we were in the hospital. My mom was there, and she was holding Grace and sitting in a chair. And she stood up, like, just out of the chair. And I literally yelled, what are you doing? Yeah. And she was like, what? I'm like, you can't stand up and hold her. She's going to fall. You have to be sitting in a chair when you hold her. And she started to, like, talk back, because obviously that is kind of an absurd thing to say. She was like, Sierra, okay, you're the mom? All right. And sat back down. And that meant so much to me. That's really nice. And really set the precedent. And now looking back, obviously, I can be like, obviously it was fine that my mom was going to stand up and hold her. But the fact that even though she felt like that was irrational, that she made the choice to, like, respect what I wanted as a parent, I think really meant so much to me, and also has really informed the way that I feel comfortable, like, including my mom as a caretaker for her.
Yeah, that is very true. Very, very true. I mean,
you can't really rationalize with someone who has anxiety like that, though, too. So I'm glad she was able to do that, because I feel like anytime anyone tries to talk me through what I'm anxious about, number one, I'm simply not listening. Right. And number two, now I'm anxious and angry.
Yeah. I mean, I'm anxious at a baseline at all times.
Same.
So you not being familiar with that, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like my husband. I'm like, I don't understand. Okay.
It was really weird. Like, I've known so many people with anxiety, and you hear people talk about it, but then to experience it yourself and be like...
It's her saying I know people, looking me dead in the eyes the entire time.
People in the room.
Yeah. All right, before we get into the next question, a quick word from today's sponsor.
Looking for a way to take control of your mental health without the hassle? Let me introduce you to something that is game-changing. If anxiety has been keeping you up at night, I've got some great news. Nurex is a digital healthcare platform that makes it easy to get the expert healthcare that you deserve, and it's tailored to your unique needs. Nurex offers affordable, quality care for anxiety that can make a real difference in your life. Their licensed medical providers will help you find the right treatment plan, and they're with you every step of the way, checking in regularly to make sure it's working for you. One of the best parts, with your prescribed treatment plan, you get unlimited messaging with your medical team. Any questions, anytime, they're there to support you. And no more long waits. Nurex's seamless clinical evaluation means you can seek treatment on your schedule, right from home. In just a few days, you can be seen by a licensed provider compared to the month-long wait time for the in-person appointments. Plus, mental health medication services with Nurex cost less than traditional appointments with no hidden costs or surprise bills. They even accept many major insurance plans for prescriptions. Imagine having the support you need exactly when you need it, without the stress of long waits or high cost. That's the peace of mind Nurex can offer. Ready to take the next step? Go to Nurex.com/20 to get started. Remember, results may vary and Nurex isn't available in every state. Medications are prescribed only if clinically appropriate after a consultation. Thanks to Nurex for sponsoring this podcast. Taking control of your mental health starts here. Go to Nurex.com/20 to get started. That is Nurx.com/20. Results may vary, not offered in every state. Medications prescribed only if clinically appropriate. Consultation required.
One of the questions I was just looking for, someone asked, what is something you worried about that you really shouldn't have? Did you guys have any, like, postpartum fears or stresses like that?
This is kind of crazy. I could not be near the dishwasher when I was holding my baby. Like, unloading the dishwasher with her around, simply no. She's going to fall on a steak knife. Oh. Like, I'm going to drop her.
That's interesting.
I saw this one on TikTok, and it was like, I live in Wyoming, but I'm so afraid my kid's going to fall into the Grand Canyon. Same. Relatable. Like
Oh
the
my
most,
God.
we had a Big Bear trip planned and I canceled it because I was like, my car's going to fall off a cliff.
You know what? I kind of get that.
It's yeah.
I've never thought about the dishwasher thing. Thanks for introducing that. In some way. No, I'm just kidding.
No fear unlocked.
No, you know what? I lock my cats out of the laundry room whenever I'm doing laundry because I'm afraid they're going to jump in the washer. It's kind of giving that.
It is
but
that.
with a human.
It's just, or like things that are just not going to happen, right? Like
Right.
I'm taking a bath and I'm scared that my baby just happened to be in the bath as well, even though she's out there with her dad.
Oh,
you
I
know,
get
like
that.
it's just things that are just, you can't live. There's no peace.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like the combination of the anxiety and the hormones that makes those feelings feel extra real. When I didn't have as bad postpartum anxiety this time as I did with Grace. This time it's like I have those anxious thoughts, but I'm able to, like, as my therapist said, attach it to a balloon and let it go. Right? Like,
Good.
have the thought and then not let it control my actions in my life. With Grace, it was very like, and I feel like that's the difference between like feeling anxious and having anxiety, right? Is when it starts to control your life and change your actions. With Grace, I couldn't like function a lot of the times without letting that fear take over. And one of my biggest ones was I was constantly afraid I was going to fall asleep with her in the bed and she was going to suffocate. To the point that I went out in the living room every single time I would feed her in the middle of the night.
Oh, wow.
Like, I was like, even if I sit up in bed and turn the lights on, like...
You're going to fall asleep. Yeah.
And I would... At one point, it was like a couple times a night, I would wake up and start throwing the blankets and pillows around and, like, hyperventilating. And Steven would be like, she's right there in the bassinet. You're okay. Like, take a breath. But it felt so real to me.
I like what your therapist said about the balloon thing. Unfortunately, my
Not
balloons
possible.
are not helium. They are regular air.
lead
I let it go. It doesn't go anywhere.
It sinks
because,
right back to the ground.
My kids are almost 5 and 3, and I don't even think you can call this postpartum anxiety anymore.
Just
It's
anxiety.
just anxiety.
Yeah, just anxiety. I never felt like my anxiety was postpartum because it never really it was just always the way it was.
Yeah.
Although I will say, like, I didn't get postpartum depression. I mean, I'm only 3.5 months out. I guess things can strike at any time. But I haven't gotten postpartum depression or anxiety yet either. And I am very surprised about that. Like you, I was kind of preparing for it because I'm just like a big hodgepodge of mental health issues. But
Relatable.
I actually think it was almost the opposite for me. I thought I was going to be more anxious about things around him than I ended up being. That's kind of the thing that surprised me the most. I was very much aware to the point where, like, Mario and I had like long conversations. I'm like, I'm going to be weird. I'm not going to like let you be alone with him, and I'm not going to let you feed him, and I'm not going to let you change him. This is like while I was still pregnant. And I'm like, and it's not a reflection on you or my trust in you or my faith in you. It's just a mental health thing. I'm going to be anxious. And then he got here and I was like, you change him. You take him. You do it. And I couldn't believe how much more low key. I think once he was like, the baby was here, once August was in my arms, I was just like, oh, it's real and he's here and I don't have to be so afraid. The way that I kind of was when
During
I was
you're pregnant.
Yeah. And that really surprised me.
It's good. I think it also, like, having a partner who respects that need, right? Who doesn't take it personally.
Yeah.
But then is ready to step up when you're ready is so important.
Yeah. Well, he's used to all my problems. So.
Same again. I'm just here.
Okay, another question. Do you feel like you lost a part of yourself when you were pregnant or a new mom?
I lost all of myself when I was pregnant.
Yeah, you did.
Don't do pregnancy well. We can talk about that later when we talk more about pregnancy. As a new mom with my daughter, with my first, absolutely. Again, anxiety took over. I left her one time in the first like 15 months of her life, and that was for your live show, the podcast live show.
Yeah.
And even then I didn't last for a very long time. I didn't let my husband watch her. I didn't let anyone watch her. I never saw my friends. I never did anything. And that really took a toll on me. And so when I had my second, 2 years later, it was kind of the opposite. I kind of made it a point to really trust other people. You know, he's going to be fine. I've done this before. My husband knows what to do. You know, I have my family. And so I actually feel like with my second, I kind of found myself a little bit more, which was really nice and really refreshing just because coming off of how I was when I had my daughter and then pregnancy from literal hell, I just didn't know if there was like any coming back from that.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad with the way that that went the second time.
Yeah. It was cool to watch you because you were so intentional about it. And I remember when you were pregnant with Harrison, like, you were saying, when he's here, I'm not going to let that happen again.
Yeah.
Like, from the beginning, I have to just force myself to be okay with, like, being Kenzie and a mom and not just Kenzie the mom.
Yeah. I mean, my kid's like almost walking and they're like, can I hold your kid? I'm like, actually, no.
But it's
Didn't say no because, people pleaser. It's fine. Right. I was dying inside.
But it's hard.
It is hard.
But I think you were so much better off the second time because of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When was the moment that I realized, like, oh my God, like, as a friend, like, I'm just so proud of you when you went to the Harry Styles concert by yourself.
What a trip was that, right? Sometimes I think about that and I just get anxiety because I'm like, one, why did I do that? And two, how did I do that? But then I'm like, it was one of the best nights like of my life. If for those who don't know me, which is everyone, I am very introverted. I have a lot of social anxiety. I don't do anything alone. I don't want to go to the grocery store alone. I don't want to get gas alone.
Right.
But Harry Styles, I was like, I have to, like, a ticket popped up and I bought it kind of just without thinking. And I was like, well, I have to go. And so I literally went to a concert all by myself. And I was running on adrenaline the whole time, but it was like great. And I'm so proud of myself. I'm never going to do anything alone again, but it was like, I know I can. And it was great. It was like the best ever.
Yeah. And that was like coming off the heels pretty freshly of like you hardly wanting to leave the house with people.
Yeah.
Like, and then to go to a concert.
Right.
By yourself, like leave your kids
Which
at home
so
was like
weird to think about. Like,
I actually like teared up when you told me about it. I remember it.
I remember so many people were like, I can't believe you did that. And I was like, honestly, same. But like, it was good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, me. I don't know. Losing myself in pregnancy, I think I just have viewed pregnancy and new motherhood as just like the next phase of my life. And so things have changed and I'm definitely not the person I was, a year ago. But I don't know if that's so much losing myself or just like entering this next chapter.
Ooh,
I don't feel
that.
I don't feel like I'm like, a shadow of who I was or that I'm like missing out on things that I want to be a part of. More so just life is different now. I am different now. I am forever changed by this experience that I went through. And this is what Rachel looks like as a mom.
I love that.
And again, it's all very fresh. Like my experience is so limited compared to the two of you, but that's just kind of how I've been, I guess, mentally framing it so far.
Yeah.
2 months later, Rachel's vlog. I've lost
I'm
myself.
gone. That was all total bullshit and actually it fucking sucks. No. So far it's been pretty good. So.
It's a good way to frame it too of like, yeah, I'm not the same person, obviously. I have a kid. And I think you were really ready for that change too.
Yes.
You're
Yes, definitely.
like a Pokemon. You're evolving. Like, yeah, you're not a Charmander anymore, but you're a Charmeleon.
Right.
Even on your way to being a Charizard.
Oh my God. And I hear that's like a big one.
Oh yeah. And maybe someday you'll reach Mega Charizardhood.
Maybe, if you're lucky. Mega Charizard.
I don't understand what the fuck is going on. Yes, absolutely. Pokemon.
That is the goal. Mega
It's a
Charizard.
high compliment. Charizard's the best starter.
Agree.
Okay. Well, see,
The starter?
I thought it was something like that. Yeah.
Well, sorry. Charmander's the best
Yes.
starter.
Yeah. Right. Mario would simply be like wet for this conversation, but I do not understand what's going on.
I feel like I really lost myself more than ever actually after my miscarriage. And that was like a deep sense of like, I will never be the person I was before that again. Like it was such a clear like before and after. And I feel like I lost a lot of my like spark and energy. And also around that time, like shortly after that, I had a huge creative slump and just feeling like I can't be the person that I was. And then being online and being an influencer, there's an expectation that I like kind of continue being somewhat of the same person. And that was a big part of what led to me like wanting to quit and then deciding, you know what, like let's try the collective and let's do all of this. And I feel like honestly, since the miscarriage, which is crazy that now that's been like it's been 4 years, over 4 years. It's been kind of like a slow rebuilding of myself. And so I feel like I had rebuilt a good chunk of myself back up by the time I had Grace. And then there was like a little bit of a like, finding the routine, navigating friendships, navigating life. But for the most part, I felt pretty good. In pregnancy, this time I felt great. I felt like I know who I am. I feel so confident in myself. I feel so confident in my body. And then after having Alice, I felt good in myself personally, like who I am inside. But I've really struggled with body image. Really struggled.
Which is so crazy because I feel like you, in my brain, you are at like the top of that battle, right? Like you've overcome so much. Like you are so positive. Like you are so inspiring to so many people. And the way that you know, model that for your daughter and just for my daughter, like it's so great. And so it is crazy to hear. And it's honestly, it's kind of refreshing though too, right? Like even the people that have overcome these battles like still struggle. But it's like crazy to, you know, hear that you are struggling with that, because that's not something that as your friend I've seen from you in so long.
I mean, I think, you know, body image is a journey that never ends. And, you know, it sucks to have to be reminded of it because you are someone who is typically so confident and so, you know, in a great headspace in that regard. But, you know, I'm right there with you. It hasn't been the easiest thing since postpartum. And I also feel like before all of this, I was an extremely confident person. Still am. But it is refreshing to hear that from you. And I'm sorry that you're going through that. And let's work through that together, because it is just, you know, as someone who's just had their first child, I think I wasn't prepared for not only the weight or whatever, that is what it is, but I think like physically, my body has physically changed. My hips are wider, like my boobs are different. Everything is just in ways that I don't think they'll ever return, even if I do lose all the weight or whatever. So that is something that is really hard to grapple with. All of a sudden, your whole life is different and you look in the mirror and your body is forever changed this late in your life. It's something that, you know, I wasn't really prepared for either. And so I totally understand that. And I'm sure that most moms must go through this, because like you and I, we are like pretty confident people. And the fact that like we're now kind of just like, this sucks, you know?
Yeah.
It's so real though. And it's really, I think talking about it is nice because it can make you feel so like
less
alone, you know, when you're just like standing there getting dressed and you're like, I hate how everything looks. This sucks.
Literally me every single day.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for like the words of support there. I really appreciate it.
Well, just knowing that like, I feel like the feelings you're going through are very normal, and not like indicative of like anything that's rooted in reality, and more just stuff that, you know, I think most moms have to sort of parse through after going through such a major change that literally came from our bodies. Yeah.
I feel like pregnancy gave me such a new appreciation for my body, because I'm like, first of all, I'm growing a human life. That's badass.
Yeah.
Second of all, a human life that I am so excited about and to love and to hold. And like, the bigger my body gets, the more I'm growing this baby. And like, it was so exciting. And I felt like so hot when I was pregnant. Like, you couldn't tell me shit when I was pregnant.
Honestly,
loved it.
Same.
Yeah?
I feel like it's funny because I feel like my whole life, I've never felt confident like with my body. And nothing in specific. I think it just has to do with like confidence as a whole. But when I was pregnant, I mean, besides feeling like my body actually just wanted me dead, having, you know, a growing belly and everything, like that was the most confident that I've ever felt. Oh, it wasn't, I never experienced like, oh my gosh, I just, you know, I hate how big I feel. I hate how clothes look on me. Like when I was pregnant, never. Like I loved it.
That's cute. Yeah, because we're goddesses.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally.
And then the baby comes out and you're like, oh, this is what I'm left with. Okay.
Wait, everything doesn't just snap right back? What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's like your body shouldn't be the same because you went through something freaking crazy. But it is so hard and weird to feel like your body isn't your own. Yes. Like I look in the mirror, and it's getting better. I'm working on it. But I look in the mirror and I'm like, who is that?
Yeah.
Who is that? And why do I hate her?
I know.
I kid.
I feel kind of the exact same way. And something interesting is that it didn't really hit me until I was about 2.5 months out postpartum. I think like I was so in the haze of like this new baby, I wasn't even really looking in the mirror. But just in the last month or so, getting dressed has been really complicated. I've definitely cried many times where I'm just like trying to put on clothes that fit me before I was pregnant, and they just look so different, and there's just no world where it's ever going to be the same. And I'm just like, oh, you know, and I already have like a big battle of you know, because I was anorexic when I was a kid, and so I went on this huge, I have so much like body image and self-love therapy under my belt that I thought I was so prepared for this. I was like, I've, you know, I've gone through eating disorder recovery, which is one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. I can handle any body changes that come my way because I have all the tools in my toolbox. And even though all of that is true, I still like found myself looking in the mirror and thinking all these negative thoughts that haven't cropped up in years. And I'm just like, oh my God, I have to actually reach into that toolbox for the first time in like 7 years, 8 years.
Right.
It's
like
crazy.
I thought the toolbox enough was a threat to it that it wouldn't come. Don't you come over here.
Exactly.
Because I'm ready.
Yeah, but it is real. And, you know, I think like I've known that you were also going through something. And I think honestly, as much as I wished that both of us would just kick this postpartum's, you know, ass, it's nice to know that it is like a almost universal feeling.
Yeah. And I think that's on the importance too of like community in motherhood. And like it can be so isolating. And just hearing from someone around you of like, oh yeah, I'm dealing with that too. Or I've been through that before. It's like,
right.
Oh my God. Okay. So I'm not the only
crazy.
person. Yeah. Going through this. But it's hard to find that community too.
Yeah, I'm lucky I have you too. Yeah. Genuinely. You guys were the first two people besides my husband to find out that I was pregnant. Did you know that? Yeah.
Well, I remember you texted us, because you had just left.
I didn't text anyone else because I was here and I said, I just missed my period, but like, LOL, that doesn't mean anything.
We were like, oh, girl.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, you miss your period. Like, are you usually regular? You're like, I've never been a day late. And I'm like, you're pregnant.
Yeah. We were
for
like,
sure.
So
I don't think
you're pregnant.
You have so much more restraint than me too. Because you were like, oh, I'll wait till I'm home. I would have been like, Postmate a pregnancy test immediately.
I get a twinge of nausea, and I'm like,
Pregnancy test.
Yeah.
Pregnancy test. No, I just didn't believe it, but it was in fact true, and now I have a live child.
It was so cute. Before we were filming, we had both the babies here, and like we had them looking at each other, August and Alice, and
so cute.
Like, it was so cute,
so adorable. Well, that's the first baby. Alice is the first baby that August has ever met.
Oh, really?
And I think he's a fan.
Oh. It's cool too. As they get older, we'll get to see them like interact more and more
and like become friends.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
And then like now, like Grace and Harlan and Harrison have like their own little conversations.
Yeah, we'll go on walks and we'll turn around. The kids are just holding hands behind us, just talking about their own thing. We're like, honestly, this is amazing because now we can just like chat because they're chatting.
Yeah,
that's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cute.
I think our kids would have been friends regardless because we're around each other so much. Mm-hmm. But I do think they're like, they have like a special connection.
They do, yeah.
Like Grace loves Harrison, plays with him so much, and then Harlan is just like on this pedestal for her. Like
she's older,
yeah,
right? She gets
100%.
But it is cute to get them all together and see how like they try new things when they're together, and it's like they like it's really sweet. They're all so sweet together.
I love that.
Except it becomes a problem when Grace was on a play date the other day and the little girl did something Grace didn't like, and she turned to me and said, "I wish I was with Harlan instead."
Oh,
and I was like, Grace, we're trying to make friends.
Grace said, "No new friends."
Yeah,
literally last night. My kids were like, where's Dad? And I was like, oh, he went for a walk. And Harrison goes, with Grace? I was like, no.
We do walks without Grace sometimes.
Just, TJ and Grace going for a walk.
Yeah, that's so funny.
It's funny, too, because, like, our kids will ask, like, we'll go on walks in the middle of the day, you know, me, Kenzie, and the kids. And without fail, one of them, either Harlan or Harrison asks where Steven is, or Grace asks where TJ is. They're always like,
where's the dad?
Where's the dad?
Oh, he's at work? Mine too.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Kind of in the same vein. How do you maintain your personal identity as a mom? I don't. I'm trying.
I was going to say, I don't. It's a work in progress. We're trying. Yeah, right. First, I need to have one. Yeah, in order to maintain,
I must have.
Yeah.
No, it's hard. I feel like I try to carve out time where I can to do things for myself. It is very difficult, but I try the best I can. A big thing for me lately has been getting up before the kids, which sucks because I want to sleep. But having a couple hours in the morning to exercise, read, exist as a human being is nice. But it comes at a price, right? Then I'm not sleeping as much, and maybe then I'm tired, and I don't have as much, like, patience, and I'm like, man, I should have slept more, but...
Yeah, I don't sleep at all anyway, zero. It had nothing to do with having a child. So, but I don't know. I think I'm too fresh to answer this question if I'm being honest, because I I don't even know. Who was I before I was pregnant and who am I now? These are questions that are far too existential for me to even ponder at the moment.
We're just like, let's talk about if I pooped at birth. Let's talk about my vagina.
Yeah, like, who wants to ask me about my vagina? Like, that I can get into.
Question. Okay, what were y'all's birth experiences like?
Mine was very positive. I feel like, wasn't yours?
I mean, overall, I think with my first, I labored for like a couple days. And so that was really rough. By the time I had her, I was just so exhausted.
Tired, yeah.
And then, of course, like my anxiety, I wasn't sleeping and didn't let anyone hold her. So I kind of got off on a rough start. But overall, like the actual birth experience, no issues. You know, it was fine. It was normal. My son came in 4 seconds. So that was stressful. But again, you know, very, very lucky. No complications or anything like
That's
that.
what I thought,
So,
yeah. Mine was, I also had a vaginal birth, and I was induced. I was 5 days past my due date, and my OBGYN was just like, let's get this show on the road. I was like, okay, whatever. I was not like, okay, whatever. I really struggled with the idea of being induced because I so desperately wanted to go into labor naturally, and it just wasn't happening. And I cried, and I like Googled positive induction stories for a long time until finally we just got to the hospital, and I was like, oh, well, it's happening. And actually I kept telling Mary, I was like, we could just leave whenever we want. And we could just leave whenever we want. They're putting the epidural in me. I'm like, we could just leave whenever we want. And at a certain point, Mary was like, we can't just leave anymore.
Right, we've
like,
passed that point.
Now it's happening. But actually, like, from the time I got to the hospital to the time he was born was 22 hours. I got the epidural after like 5 hours, and I blissfully felt nothing. There was like, you know, within the labor, there was like one little scare with the heart rate, but things, you know, cleared themselves up pretty quickly, and he was born, and I didn't feel a goddamn thing.
Oh,
So after, right? Because you tore, right?
I tore. The healing was a whole different story. The healing was, you know what? That's something.
Ripped to shreds.
I was not prepared for how painful the healing was going to be.
Right.
Way more painful than giving birth.
If anyone has seen the size of my children's heads,
Those big brain babies.
please.
Yeah, I believe the message you sent us was, here's my baby, da-da-da, you know, all the things. Vagina ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
Heart so full.
Yes, no, literally, I think I was telling people, like, my vagina will never be the same, which wasn't true, but it's how I felt in the moment. I was like, simply, I don't want to think about what's happening below my hips because it is a nightmare down there, and it hurt for a long time.
But I will say, I was in a ton of pain the first time, 2nd degree tear, whatever. Second time I gave birth, also 2nd degree tear. I was fine.
Oh, really?
Literally, like up and out of bed, whereas the first one, I like scooting to the edge of the bed,
Yeah.
death sentence.
You're like bringing back traumatic memories
right,
for me.
Right. Like sitting, oh my gosh, the worst thing in my, as a girl who loves to sit,
Yeah.
you know,
Same.
worst thing ever. And the second time was totally fine. So
That's so interesting. I will say that
she did me a favor.
yeah, right. She,
Muscle memory girlfriend. She knows we're
exactly.
gonna be okay in the end.
No,
so she really pulled through.
The only thing that got me through was the ice pads. If I didn't have ice pads, which I didn't, I had Mario grab them for me at some point, and that's the only reason that my vagina is here today with us all, gracing us with her presence, because I swear to God I wasn't gonna make it through without them. And pain medicine, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the one nice thing about, you know, I had a 60-hour failed induction that led to a C-section. I was 8 centimeters dilated when that happened, but I hadn't pushed yet. Right? So, like, it would have been so much worse had I gotten to the pushing stage, because then I would have been healing from the trauma of, like, an almost vaginal birth and the trauma of a C-section. Whereas because I hadn't pushed yet, it was really only the C-section healing and, like, the fact that I had been on fluids for so long. My body was, like, a marshmallow.
Right.
The girlfriend downstairs, she's good.
Downstairs, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, that is, well, I guess it's not nice that you had to have a C-section,
Right,
but if
there's
there
just-
is a perk,
It's nice that it was just the C-section.
Yes. Yeah, but you know what I will say? Here I am 3.5 months later, vagina normal.
Good.
Wouldn't have believed it 3.5 months ago, but she functions as she should.
So if you're freshly postpartum looking at your vagina being like,
Don't look at
dear
it.
God.
Oh, I
Don't-
never looked at it.
I looked at it, biggest mistake of my life. Don't look at it.
See, I'm not afraid of that stuff. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Don't look at it.
I'm surprised because before you came with me to my C-section, you said, oh, I just watched a video of someone having a C-section.
That's the thing is I'm not weirded out by anything. Like, I'll look at crime scene photos. I don't care. I'll look at anything.
Sure,
that
that's
stuff
normal.
doesn't bother me. Like, Grey's Anatomy, Sierra's like skipping the surgeries. I'm like, let's zoom in right there. But I could not bring myself
Thank God.
to look.
Yeah, it's for the best.
Maybe that's just because it was
Your
me.
own. Yeah.
And I'm like, I just really can't take seeing her like that.
It's kind of an image that's going to be burned into my brain for the rest of my life, so I count yourself lucky.
Maybe ignorance is bliss.
Maybe.
She looks normal now.
Good.
In case anyone's
Yeah,
curious.
You're like, let's set the record
Yeah,
straight.
let's just set the record straight. Both of us.
Everything is just
normal.
fine down there.
Okay. Have you had to unleash your mama bear on anyone?
like someone that's not my child.
Yeah, like have you had to like go off on someone like in defense of your child?
Well, I know you have.
Yeah.
Sierra's like,
I picked this one
Sierra's
for a
like,
reason.
this one was for me.
Because I've got a story to share. So I can go first.
Yes.
So I'm at Trader Joe's the other week. I've got both kids, Alice in the carrier, Grace is walking next to me. Good shopping experience, no meltdowns, awesome. We're having a great time. I'm at the checkout counter, and at the checkout stand, like 2 people away from us is this older woman, and she sees me and she runs over, like leaves her cart and her groceries, runs over. She's like, oh my gosh, like, is it a boy or a girl? I'm like, oh, a girl. She's like, oh, 2 girls, that's great. You know, I had 3 boys, and they're all now in their 50s. I'm like, okay, you know, that's great. Kind of weird that she sprinted over there, but like, whatever, you know? Mm-hmm. Fine interaction. And then she says, how old is she? And I said, oh, she's 12 weeks. And she goes, oh, well, you know, that's still really young, so be careful. Things can happen.
Yeah, she's like, a lot can happen.
excuse me?
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean?
And I just froze. I said nothing. I, like, didn't respond. And she goes, just saying, you know, be careful. And walks back to her cart. I immediately start, like, welling up with tears. Like, I've already struggled with, you know, pregnancy loss, postpartum anxiety. Like, I feel like people just know, for the most part, be careful what you say to new moms.
Be
Right.
positive. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, what?
Especially
Also, like,
the-
your hormones are still, like, it's
course.
just, that's just an absurd
Yeah.
thing to say to anybody.
That sounds like a threat.
That's what my mom said when I told her that. But to go up to a stranger in public and basically say, like, your baby might die, so
Yeah.
be careful.
Jesus.
Well, and then didn't the cashier, she was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I just, like, the woman walked away and the cashier goes, that was so wrong. I'm so sorry. And I just didn't say anything. I just froze. My eyes start watering up. Grace is so perceptive and she starts going, Mommy, what's wrong? Mommy, what? Are you sad? Mommy, what'd she say to you? And I'm like, my kid, like, latches onto things and then we'll bring them up months later. And I'm like, let me try to just, like, downplay this so that this isn't something that, like, every
up, yeah.
time we come to Trader Joe's, she's like, remember that time that you cried? And so I'm just like, oh, I'm like, it's okay. And I usually try to be really, like, open about my emotions. You know, I don't want her to think that crying is bad or you have to hide your emotions, but I'm just like, let me get out of this situation as quick as possible. So the cashier is like, I'm so sorry. Do you want someone to walk you out to your car? Like, that was so terrible. And I'm just like, no, I'm okay. I'm fine. Like, literally just, like, crying at this point and just like, here, Grace, you want some stickers? Like, trying to be as normal as possible. I walk out. I'm, like, fully crying at this point. Sunglasses on. The woman is waiting for me outside the door. And I walk out, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did I upset you? And I just kept walking, pushing my cart. And she's like, wait, like, chasing after me in the parking lot. And she goes, I just wanted to say that because I had, you know, a child who passed away when they were, like, 10 weeks old. And I turned my head around and I said, I am very sorry that that happened to you, but telling a stranger that in a Trader Joe's parking lot is not the time or place. And I just walked away. And she, like, chased after me. And she kept being like, wait, I just want, like, trying to talk to me. And I turned around and I said, please do not say anything else to me or my children. We are leaving. Please leave us alone. And I wish I would have unleashed more. But I was like, let me just shut this down as quick as possible and get out of here. And I get in the car, and then, you know, Grace is like, Mommy, what did she say? Mommy, what's going on? And so I just said, you know, that woman said something that I felt like was really not nice, and it made me upset. And so I asked her to please not talk to me. And we went home, and I sobbed. I was so, like, shaken up and anxious and angry and Like, it was just, I feel like I did what I needed to do to get out of that situation, but I honestly wish I would have unleashed more. Because, like, that's so fucked up.
That's how you feel after all of those situations. But that is, no, I mean, what are you supposed to say? That's insane. I cannot believe that happened to you.
It makes me wish someone else would have been with you, though, so that someone else could have been like, because, right, like, you're with your kids, first of all, so you're, like, in, like, protective mode. Like, you just need to, like, get out of there. If I was there with you, I would have been, like, probably in friggin' jail. Yeah. For assaulting an old lady.
Oh, my gosh. Well, you know, that's
wild.
Yeah. I don't actually even know. That's
so
insane.
Fucked. Yeah.
Jesus. I'm sorry that happened. That's
so
horrible.
Yeah, it freaking sucked. But I feel like, you know, I dealt with the emotions, and if I ever see that lady again...
Fisticuffs.
Yes.
On site.
Yeah.
No, I feel like like every time a situation like that happens, there's always like, oh, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done that. But you did the best that you could for you and Grace and Alice in that moment. You just had to get the hell out of there.
That's the other hard thing too, is like when you're out with your kids and something like that happens, it's like, I don't want to be too confrontational and put my kids in an unsafe situation.
Right.
You know?
100%. Yeah, because then, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you did the right thing.
Yeah. But then the next time we went to Trader Joe's, we did pull into the parking lot, and Grace immediately said, Mommy, you remember when that lady made you cry?
Of course. Of course.
I'm like, yes. I was actually trying not to think about it, but thank you.
That's when you just start gaslighting your kids, like, no.
No? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? You dreamt that.
Have you guys ever had an experience like that? Had to let someone have it?
Not since he's been born, although some weird. What is it with grocery stores and old ladies?
Yeah.
I was in a Ralph's, and I was pregnant. I was like, must have been like 8 months pregnant. I was very pregnant. And this lady touched my stomach, like just came up to me and touched me. But I did say everything I needed to say in that moment. She caught me at a bad time, and I was just like, get your fucking hands off me. And she backed up. She's like, I'm sorry. I love, pregnant ladies. And, I think there's something about, like, old ladies. They just think because they're old ladies, they can get away with stuff. And I was like, I did not invite you to touch me. I do not like being touched. Please back away from me right now. And she was just like, and there was this, like, guy stocking shelves, and he was just, like, staring. And then the lady, like, she was going to get defensive, I could tell. She was, like, kind of getting herself ready to be like, you shouldn't speak to other people like that. And I just, like, was glaring at her. And finally, I could tell she wanted to say something, and she just kind of, like I did something wrong, and then walked away. And the guy stocking shelves was like, do you need something? And I was like, I don't know, I need some fucking discounts on these groceries. No, I was like, no, I'm fine. I was fine, but I was just like, that's like the only time I've had to yell at somebody in relation to the baby. But
I'm glad that you did.
I think it's because there were no children around me that I could just scream the F word at this lady as loud as I felt. Like, I didn't have like a toddler with me that I needed to be like pretend everything was okay with. I was still pregnant, and so I was just like, get away.
You didn't have to gentle parent this lady.
There was no gentle parenting at all happening in the situation. Although I did feel very good about how I handled it, and I was bragging about it for a while.
Good. You should. It's hard to do that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's when someone touches you. I was just like, I was like, I don't know. Don't touch women without their permission.
Anyone, literally. Why are you touching anybody?
True. Don't touch no one without their permission, please.
In the realm of like people approaching you in public about your kids, I feel like a universal experience, I've experienced it, I've heard so many people talk about it online, is people coming up to you and telling you to put socks on your baby.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you my mother?
And literally, yes, it is my mother.
Yeah, I feel like everyone in my family over the age of like maybe 50 or 60 is like, it's like 90 degrees out, and they're like, where are the baby's socks?
Well, that's the thing, right? Because, like, okay, yeah, like, when they're fresh little babies, like, they can't regulate their temperature. So, like, I get it. But that's the thing. It'll be, like, 90 degrees, and they're like, where are her socks? Like, oh, she's fussy because she's hungry. She's so cold. She's literally fine. Yeah. My kid's 5 and 3 almost, right? Still, did you bring any socks? No, I didn't bring any socks. It's summer. They wore flip-flops
it's good to know that it never ends.
It never ends.
No,
I just got a little fiery about that.
What is it with the boomers and the frickin' socks?
Boomers love socks. My mom made me second guess so much because, he wasn't wearing socks the first time she came up to visit us. We were in our living room. We weren't going anywhere. He had a full outfit on. He was totally fine. We keep our houses at like a normal ass 72. And she was like, why isn't he wearing socks? And I was like, oh, I never put him in socks. Am I supposed to put him in socks? Of course, you wore socks every day of your life. Where are his shoes?
My mom.
And I'm like, I don't have shoes for him. He's 3 weeks old. And my mom was like, well, you always wore shoes. And where are his socks? Where's his? And I'm like freaking out. And then I like Google it right there in front of her, and I'm like, the internet says you're wrong. And she's like, well, and then I love my mom to death. Like, I'm kind of painting her in a weird light, but I love my mom to death. But every single time I see her, she's like, he's not wearing socks. And now I'm like, I know. And you know what? He's still alive somehow. I'm not sure exactly, but somehow he's still here. So I'm not going to put socks on him every day just to please you.
I wonder if, because it is such like a universal thing with people like over a certain age that they're so fixated on the socks. I wonder if there was like a heavy like push by pediatricians in that like age group who were like, your kids have to wear socks. Because I feel like I could see like our generation being like that about things like safe sleep, right? Because that's so pushed, and safe car seat use, right? That's so pushed by the pediatricians of like, make sure you're doing this, make sure you're doing that. What maybe they were all just like so conditioned at that time.
I think logically though, right? Like we lose heat through our head and our feet. You know, they put the beanie on, they put the socks on. I think you're right. It was probably pushed so hard, and that's just what they really latched onto.
Yeah.
Because please, like they're fine.
Right.
They're literally fine. My mom's also weird about bows. Anytime I like bring my daughter over, she's just like, her hair. And I'll like leave the room and I'll come back and she has pigtails with bows in her hair. And I'm
funny.
like, why? We didn't need to do this. Her hair was fine. Yeah, we didn't need to do this.
It is funny. I you know, when Grace was little, I would sometimes put like the bow headbands on her because it's like fun to coordinate the outfit. But I do feel like there is such a thing of like, but it's a girl. Where is her bow? How will I know?
My mom was
funny.
like, you always had a matching bow with your outfit. I'm like, okay. And I didn't think any of that was cute.
Right.
First of all, at that age, they're just little potatoes.
Right.
Like, I will say,
I loved putting bows on Harlan. She always had a bow on. But it wasn't like, oh my God, her hair's so messy. She needs to be presentable. Like, it was just fun for me.
Yeah.
Right.
And it is fun, right? And I feel like as a parent, it's fun to find joy in any way that you can. If it's getting your kid dressed or doing their hair, you know, like bringing them to an activity, even if they're not like old enough to fully like participate in it or, you know, latch onto it. Like, it's fun for the parent.
100%.
And it's important to do those things.
Oh,
But-
yeah. I love dressing August. He
Yeah.
doesn't know what he's wearing. That kid could simply exist in a diaper and his life would not be any different. I dress him for me.
Yeah.
Because I like little outfits that I bought him.
With you guys and the socks commentary, has that mostly been from your own family or has anyone come up to you like in public?
I didn't go out in public when I had little babies.
Oh, that's relatable. Yeah, I actually didn't leave the house for the first 2 months.
So it would have
genuinely.
my parents.
My parents have a lot of opinions. And my dad has become, you know, in his 60s, he's somehow become addicted to TikTok.
I love that for him. And that kind of checks out, to be honest.
Yeah, it does. And so I get about 400 parenting TikToks sent to me a day. And I cannot have a single conversation with my dad without him going, you know, I learned on TikTok the other day that you should throw a slice of cheese on your child's head if they're crying. And it really, it stuns them and they stop crying. That's his favorite one right now. And anyway, so my dad doesn't really have a lot of strong opinions. He wasn't like, there was a lot of like my mom kind of raised me, especially when I was a little kid, because that was just like the gender norms. My parents really fell into that. My mom has a lot of opinions from the 90s, and my dad has a lot of opinions for TikTok. And they really, they need to let me know at all times what those opinions are.
Yeah.
But no one in public, no. Just my overbearing parents. And also, I'm an only child, so like this is it. This grandkid is like for them everything. So,
which actually is a perfect segue to the next question I had saved, which was, do we all want more kids? Do we feel done?
oh, more.
You're more for sure.
I'm ready. My doctor told me I have to wait, so I'm waiting. But otherwise, I want.
God, to be told you have to wait, though.
I know.
Like, that is not the answer that I didn't need to be told that.
You feel ready?
Yeah, I mean, I want to enjoy being with August, you know, as he is for definitely at least a year or two. But I've had so much fun being his mom. And you know, I'm an only child. My husband is an only child. And so we don't really know, like, what it's like to have siblings. But we do know that we don't want to have an only child for ourselves. We want to give August siblings. So yeah, I'm ready to go. We also have like 6 names picked out. So like, let's go. I want to be like the next Von Trapp family.
I love that for you.
That's awesome. They'll all be months. You know, you'll have June, July,
May.
August.
They're all going to be vaguely Italian names. That's
Okay.
vaguely Roman Italian names. What about you guys?
I've got an answer, so you should go. No, you should go first.
I think I'm done. I wasn't sure if I knew I wanted more than one. I thought I would settle somewhere between 2 and 4. When I was nearing the end of this pregnancy, I started to feel like, okay, I'm pretty sure we're done. Like, I feel really happy with like a family of 4. I feel like this is going to be a good place to settle. Steven also is kind of in that same boat, but he like could do another, you know, so it's was kind of that thing of feeling like, yeah, we're probably done. And I feel like everyone around me was like, you're going to have another one. Like, she's going to get here and you're going to be like, oh my God, this can't be my last. And I haven't experienced that. I felt like very settled in it, where I'm not like super emotional about her getting older, but I'm really enjoying it. And so it kind of feels like I would be perfectly content with our family being like this. I also feel like I was really, really confident in my ability to be a parent just to Grace, like of just one child. I felt like I was able to be the parent that I wanted to be. I had enough attention to give and, you know, the level of patience that I wanted to give her and attention and all of that. And I was really nervous about having another baby and not being able to give both of them that attention.
Sure.
And I talked to Kenzie a lot about that when I was pregnant with Alice and just feeling so afraid of like how I was going to handle motherhood with 2. And I feel like it's been good. I've become confident in my ability to be the mom I want to be to 2 kids. I don't know if I could do that with 3. Maybe I could, right? And so if I do, I think I want a big age gap. But I think I might just be okay to like tap out. Like,
I mean, 2 kids is a lot.
It is, yeah.
I mean, the 3 it does sound crazy. Like, I mean, it doesn't sound crazy, but it sounds like a lot of kids. And
Yeah.
and I think it's nice that you're taking the like time to consider if that's something that mentally and physically and emotionally, that's something that you could really take on. It's nice that, you know, you're not just going to be like, well,
And I think for you, just like as your friend, it's not so much you questioning your ability to care for another child and to love another child. You would be fantastic. I think it really is like about living, you know, being the kind of mom that you want to be, doing the things that you want to be doing. And I think that's also something where we're like a little different. Whereas you're like with 2 kids, you know, it's easy to travel. We can do so many fun things. Like you're so engaged with your kids. And that does get harder when you have more, you know? And so I think that's makes sense for you. I think we've also talked about how later in life, like, you know, the door's open if maybe you would want to be a foster parent, maybe you would want to adopt. Like there's so many things that you could do if you felt like your family wasn't done, if you didn't want to have, you know, give birth to another child or whatever.
Right.
Kenzie.
Oh,
I already know the answer.
I know. It's hard. It's something that I have not me getting emotional.
This is big for you.
I'm just trying to think of how much I want to say because it's obviously something that's still really hard for me. So I have really hard pregnancies. I have hyperemesis. I am so sick. I'm hospitalized. I'm getting infusions multiple times a week. My last pregnancy was really hard. It was also during COVID. So, you know, I have a 1-year-old at home and I'm in the hospital and no one's allowed to come be there with me. The nurses don't come in unless they're like changing my IVs and stuff. So I think I carry a lot of fear and just like unresolved emotions. I'm so emotional about it. And I didn't think I would be. But I always wanted 3. My husband and I always wanted 3. I just don't know if I can do it physically. Yeah. I mean, it's aside from just emotionally, like my doctor was kind of like, oh, like, you know, if you want more, you should consider a surrogate. I'm like, thank you so much for saying that. I don't have $100,000 to do that.
I'm not Kim Kardashian, actually.
So I don't know. I think I would love to have another, but there's such an emotional hurdle that I need to get over first. And then aside from that, that's such a big thing for me to do, to kind of be out of commission for that long and not being able to be as involved with my kids as I want. And just to be that sick is really scary and takes a really big mental toll on you. So all to say, I would love to. I don't know if that's something I will be able to do, but we will see.
Well, we're here for you when you make that choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll get pregnant with you. Just let me know when it's happening.
Yeah, it's funny because there was like I wasn't very active. I'm not super social or active on social media anyways, but there was a time where like I really wasn't. And I got a message from someone. They're like, hey, like I know this is like not really my place. Are you pregnant? Because you've disappeared. And I know that you like get really sick and you did that last time. And I was like, actually, no, I'm just depressed. Thank you. But like I love to feel seen. Wow, you know me.
Thank you for noticing.
You know me. But yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a lot.
It is a lot because even for like people who don't have intense pregnancy symptoms the way that you did, pregnancy is a toll on your body. And as much as I know I'm going to have more children and I'm excited for it, the thought of going through all of that again is definitely a lot. And I had a relatively very easy pregnancy. So knowing if I didn't and I like having my first kid, if it had been as difficult as it was for you, knowing that I wanted to have more, it would probably be more of like a not so a laissez-faire, I want to be a Von Trapp family joke. It would be a bit more. So, and I'm just saying, like, it's a hard decision for any woman because it is such a difficult thing to put your body through in general. Mm-hmm. And then having gone through what you went through, there's a lot to consider.
Yeah.
But if that ever does happen to you, you're going to be an incredible mom of 3.
Thank you.
And knowing what's coming, I think, is huge for you, right? Like, I mean, hopefully it won't be like that again, but being prepared if it is.
Yeah, and that's something that I've had a conversation with my doctor recently because, you know, my youngest is about to turn 3, so it's like if we do want to have a third and we do want to have, you know, not a huge age gap, it's something to at least start thinking about. And first and foremost, she's like, well, first of all, like, you really need to get in therapy because there's no reason that, like, you should walk into this building and be like, you're like, she's looking at me, she's like, your body's like shaking, like we had to redo your vitals, like your heart rate's just like insane. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. But it's, you know, so we kind of talked about what my options would be. And so she would, you know, there's supplements that she would want me to start taking. Like the second it turned positive, I would be doing infusions and stuff, kind of just maintaining rather than playing catch up. And I think that's partially why my last one was so bad. Just because you get so sick and then you get so dehydrated, you know, it's hard to catch up. And I mean, I got so sick. I lost, you know, over 13% of my body weight. Like they're telling me that it's just a lot. So I think being prepared for that, hopefully it wouldn't be like that, but I think preparing for that would be the best. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I think clearly there's just still a big emotional hurdle that I need to get over first.
Yeah. And, you know, you have time.
Yeah, you do. And I
the clock's ticking though.
Oh, please. Don't even fucking look at me and tell me that. Go screw yourself. You may have the oldest kids, but you're literally the youngest on this couch.
That's true.
It's so funny. I feel like people assume I come from like a really religious. Have you gotten that? People think I come from like a really religious background because I like got married and had kids young, and I'm like, no, like it's just me. Like I really was the only one out of my friend group with that. We just knew what we wanted.
Yeah. And you always did. Like literally in high school, I remember like you would like eat a big burrito and then you'd be like, oh, I can't wait to feel this all the time.
Right. Oh my God. Like no one, I thought I was like doing something right. I'm like, oh my God, just got married. Like I'm pregnant. Like people are going to be so shocked. And everyone was like, yeah, right. That makes sense.
Oh,
no one was
funny.
shocked.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Having only known you since you've had Harlan, you know what's interesting? You said earlier that the first time you went out after you had Harlan was the live show. Uh-huh. That's actually the first day we ever met in person. I don't know if you knew that.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember because I was extremely, intoxicated at the party afterwards. And
Oh wait, I do
you were
remember
not
that
because you were stressed out. I later
Right.
learned that you were stressed out because this had happened to be your first night out.
Yeah.
Didn't know that at the time, and I came up to introduce myself to you, drunk, and I was like, "I'm Rachel. I'm Sierra's editor. I know so much about you. Actually, I think I've seen your vagina."
Oh my god, yes.
Because I cut your
Yes.
birth video.
Yes. I
And
do
you were
remember
like,
that.
"Hello, my name is Kenzie." That's the weird thing about being an editor is I always know more about people than they know about me, and you were just like, "Hello."
No, you've like you're like, I've seen you naked.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the story of the first time we met. But I've only known you as a mom, and it has always made sense to me. I forget that you guys are younger than me sometimes, so I've never thought it was that weird. I don't know. Why? Do you guys get that a lot?
I don't.
I don't get it a lot, but I have gotten it before.
That's interesting.
But I mean, I was like, in our town, like I really was. I mean, aside from people who didn't get pregnant on purpose.
You were the first person to intentionally get pregnant. You were the first person that people were congratulating.
I was, instead of being
God.
like, oh my God.
my God.
Yeah.
And that's a switch
funny.
that happens at some point in your 20s.
Yes.
You go from like, oh no, you're pregnant to like, congratulations,
Yes.
you're pregnant.
That is so true.
But I mean, I also, like, we're talking like I was like a teenager. I got pregnant at 22. So
Right.
I was really young, but I wasn't like crazy young.
I hadn't even met my husband when I was 22.
Wow. Yeah, Sierra had to drag me out on my 21st birthday. Like, I've just been grandma forever.
We took her to
love
Dave and
that.
Buster's.
Oh
We
my God.
I was watching Moana in bed.
And then her other
You're
friend
so cute.
texted me and was like, Kenzie is refusing to do anything. We have to kidnap her. I'm like, all right, I'm in. So we go pick up Kenzie. We're like, get in. We're going to Dave and Buster's. We go to Dave and Buster's. We make her drink. She calls an Uber on her phone without telling us. And then it pulls up and she's like, this has been fun, you guys. Thank you.
This was great.
I'm leaving. And we're like, what do you mean we drove you here? Like, we're your ride home. And you're like, actually,
see you
like,
later.
we're pulling up.
Thank you
That's
so much.
funny.
This has been
That's very you.
It is.
I think
Like,
Alex
still.
and I stayed for a while.
and I love that. And I love that for you.
Actually, I'm only surprised that you didn't have FOMO and stayed just for the FOMO. It's one of those two options. Either you're leaving early because
Yeah.
you're just over it, or you have to stay because you must know what happens.
Yeah.
Kenzie always has an exit strategy, though. That's why she said she could never do a cruise. Because, like,
Yeah.
Oh.
Rachel
How's she-
told me you guys are going on a cruise, and I didn't want to put my panic on you, but simply, you won't catch me on a cruise ever. Emphasis
handle a
on
cruise.
ever. I would no, because I have to have, seriously, right? Like, I have to have an exit strategy. If
Sure.
I'm going on a trip, I'm making sure that the flights home, when I change my flight, are reasonably priced. Like,
Wow.
if we're going somewhere and we're driving, we're taking my car because what if I have to leave? Like,
Right.
if I'm on a cruise, I'm going to end up calling the Coast Guard to come get me.
So you have options.
I have, and people are going to be like, something's wrong with her. Someone medicate her.
something's
And you know
wrong with
what?
all of
I am
us.
medicated, okay?
all right, next viewer question. I would love to hear some discussion about default parent and the mental load of being a mother.
It's hard because I have a fantastic husband. He is so involved and he is so great. But that mental load and that default parent thing, that is like, that is hard to navigate.
Yes.
Just the mental load alone. It's like, okay, you carried the bag out to the car. Thank you. You know who packed the bag? Me. You know who thought about what to put in the bag? Me. You know who planned this thing that I had to pack that you put in the car? Me.
You know who just told you to go put the bag in the car?
Me. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's hard too because when there is something that falls through the cracks and you're the one who packs the bags and plans the things and gets everything ready for the kids, it's, oh, we forgot this. And it's like, you don't mean we.
Right.
You weren't involved in this
Right.
step of it. And I struggle a lot with that we, and that's something Stephen and I have talked about a lot. He'll say, we should have packed an extra water. And I'm like, well,
You
don't-
should have.
You don't pack the diaper bag and that wasn't even a thought for you. You got your shoes and walked
Right.
out to
Yeah.
the car.
Right.
Or, oh, this sounds like such a great activity. We should sign up for it. But you don't mean
But I'm
me,
gonna sign
because
up for
I'm
it.
the default one who,
I've
gets
never
things
heard that
going.
term default parent. That's an interesting one. I'm kind of in like
That's a
my
phrase in my house.
Really? That's so
Yes.
interesting. I mean, we haven't. August is 3 months old, so there hasn't been a lot of experience here yet. But same with you. My husband is amazing. I got to make this disclaimer. He's the love of my life and my best friend, and he does everything that he can think of to be the best parent possible.
Everything that he's asked to do.
Everything that he is asked to do, that man does, no question and willing. And if I'm like, do this, he's on it and he does it, and that's great because he does things that I don't want to do. But it is a thing. But it's interesting because, you know, we are in our 30s and we've been together for 9 years. I think about that one. We've been together for 9 years. It was like that before we had kids. I've just always been the one to kind of take that on. My husband doesn't have anxiety. He doesn't overthink things. He doesn't, you know, he's a very go with the flow, loosey-goosey person. And that's one of the many reasons I love him and why we worked so, because we're kind of like opposite puzzle pieces that fit. But like when we go on trips, I book the flights and I book the hotel and I make the plans and I give us the itinerary for the day. And like when we like need to be somewhere, like I make sure we're on time and I tell us when we're getting ready. And like, not like I'm his mother, but like I'm the planner. And that has definitely like ramped up into overdrive. Also, my husband works full time and I have a part-time job. And so I'm home with the kid. And so I also just feel like I know more of what needs to get done. But it definitely does sometimes like take a little bit of patience with him when he comes home and he has opinions on things that I've been doing. And I'm just like, no, respectfully, absolutely not.
And I feel like that's where burnout comes from, right? Even if you have a partner that is so willing, you already know what needs to be done. You know when the baby needs to be fed, you know. And so for me, I feel like sometimes it's just easier to do it myself rather than walk someone else through it. But when that becomes a habit and, you know, you are the default parent, it gets tiring, you get annoyed, and that's when I get, you know, and it's like, well, I would help you if you ask. I don't want to have to ask you.
I don't want to have to ask you or teach you or any of that.
Yeah, well, and it's like, you know, at night, the baby's crying. Who's going to get the baby? Like, let's be real. He would get the baby if I asked, but who's going to naturally just go and get the baby? I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I do. I have been doing all the night feedings. I do, but you know, and I don't know if like rationalize is the right word. The reason we do it is because he works full time, and I want him to have a full night's sleep every night so that he will be safe when he's driving. I don't have to drive anywhere during the day, and I'm breastfeeding, and there's a whole host of reasons why I do the overnight stuff. But you know, it is sometimes hard when it's 2, 3, 4 a.m. Baby's waking up every hour because he's going through his 4-month sleep regression, and my husband's just snoozing away.
Yeah.
Just he's a deep sleeper too. So like I could turn the lights on and the music on and he is just out. And I'm like, well,
must be nice.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's not like I don't know. Maybe I haven't been at this long enough to have like a resentment or burnout yet. But it's something that I think about a lot as something that could happen.
Yeah, I've tried to be really proactive about telling Steven when I am approaching that point. And like you guys, I feel like I have an A+ partner. I feel like he is so amazing and helpful to me and such an amazing dad. And so again, with like saying these things, both in this conversation and like talking to him, I never want it to feel like I'm like downplaying his contributions, right?
Yes.
But I've tried to be really proactive in letting him know when I'm starting to feel that resentment. And like for the first 3 or 4 weeks, I did all of the night feedings because I'm breastfeeding and it was easier. And also we have a toddler. And so he was doing most of the toddler care when he was on his paternity leave and in those early weeks. And so it was easier for me to be up at night feeding the baby. And then he would have a full night's rest to be with the toddler. And it was around week 4 that I was like, hey, I'm really starting to feel resentful. And it was specifically one morning where he woke up and started complaining that he didn't sleep well. And I'm like, you didn't sleep well because you want to hear about my night. And I feel like that's where it was so helpful for me to like step back and be like, okay, I can't be angry if I haven't asked for help. I can't be angry if this is what I wanted.
Yes.
And so that's when I was like,
so important.
I was like, hey, I'm ready to start pumping and introducing bottles and we can alternate who's up at night. And he was like, great. I have been hoping to do that.
Yeah.
And it was great. And now that she's mostly sleeping through the night, we're both able to get more rest. But that resentment could have gotten to the point where it would have made me really bitter.
I think what you just said right there about like I can't get angry about something I haven't asked for yet that's such an important way to think about it. Because I also will be like, don't complain to me about your sleep. Don't complain to me about like, you know, a dirty diaper that you just changed that was a blowout. Like, are you kidding me? I deal with that every single day. But I can't be mad at him for not changing diapers if I'm never asking him. But then also it's like, how many times do I have to ask you before you just like pick the fucking baby up yourself?
And that's the thing too. I never want to feel like I'm nagging.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, if I have to ask you more than once, I'm just going to do it myself. And that's where it's hard because it's like, okay, do you want to ask for the help, but do you also want to give them grace to like move on their own timeline and do things the way that they do it?
And all three of us have control issues. So
Yep. But yeah, I think that mental load of like being the default parent in a lot of ways, the one who packs the bags and, you know, as the kids are getting older, who's on the school contact form and who's planning for, you know, the vacations and all and the packing list and all that stuff, like it does become a lot. And I feel like it often falls on the mom.
Yes, definitely.
Even when you have a very wonderful, involved partner.
We all do.
I mean, we all know each other's partners and they're all incredible. It's, you know, I just think, I don't know about you guys, but for me, that's how it was growing up. My mom was the default parent. My dad worked. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And so part of that is like, I feel myself falling into roles that have been modeled for me without even really understanding or knowing. That's like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm my mother, but less crazy. Or maybe not. So it's just, I think that's part of it for me too. Is that like, oh, well, this is all I know.
Yeah.
And I think for my husband, it's the same way. His mom was a stay-at-home mom and his dad worked. And so that's kind of just how he expects us to fall in, you know, but it's, you know, it's 2024. So let's challenge that a little bit.
Right. One of the things Steven's talked a lot about is how it's almost insulting how low the bar is for men, for parents, for fathers, that like he'll, you know, go anywhere with the two kids and people are like, oh, super dad of the year.
Or like, look who's babysitting.
I was going to say the babysitting one. Like, what do you mean? Who's watching the kids? Their father?
Right.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, last question. What is the best thing to say to reassure and hype up a new mom or mom-to-be?
Someone just asked me this in my DMs the other day, so I got a fresh answer on the top of my head. I would say the thing that I would tell somebody. Why am I answering this so weird? All right, hold on.
It's giving pageant, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I personally believe.
I believe I said that no matter what doubts you have in your mind, you have got this. There is nothing that you can do that is wrong. Your child will love you no matter what. You are going to know what to do and what they need. You just need to trust yourself and believe in your ability to do this. I didn't know anything about babies before mine came straight out of my body, and I have understood his needs from day one in a way that I didn't know was possible. I just needed to let go of the fear and trust myself, and that's what you need to do as well, and everything will be okay.
There is no one better for your baby than you.
Yes. That's
Period.
it. Yes.
That is huge too for like trusting your instinct, right? It's so easy to look, especially online, at, you know, how people are parenting their kids and be like, I'm not good enough, right? Or like, I should be doing it this way. And it's like, they would not be a better parent for your kid because you are the best parent for your kid.
Exactly. I just think that that's something that you don't understand until you have one. And so I hope it was reassuring for that mom to be to hear. And I hope it's reassuring for anyone who needs to hear it, because it is 100% true. You cannot mess it up. Your child will love you no matter what. You will get through this, and it will be the best thing you've ever done.
I think also, too, when you're aware and you're even just being aware and being afraid that you're going to mess it up, the fact that you're worried about that, you're doing a good job.
Yeah. Bad parents don't worry about that.
Bad parents don't worry. They don't care. Like, if you're, you know, oh, like, I could have been a little bit nicer, or like, I could have put my phone down like more today. You're aware of it, and that's the first step, and that's the hardest step. And like, we're all just out here doing our best. And it's hard. Parenting is the hardest thing in the world, but it's also the best thing in the world. And like I said, there's no one better for your baby than you. And like, you're trying, you love your baby's fed, it has a parent that loves it. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's like we were saying at the beginning of the episode. It's that balance of like wanting to be honest about parenthood and vulnerable, but also like, I do think sometimes it can get a little lost in the sauce in that of feeling like it's all bad, because a lot of what is shared about parenting is the negatives. But at the heart of it, like, despite all of that, the part that often gets unsaid is how fucking awesome it is. Right. How amazing it is. and how even on the hardest days, it is like the most amazing work and the most important work. And like getting to have the privilege of like raising a child and, you know, being their parent is the most amazing gift and like the coolest thing and so amazing and so special. And there are going to be a trillion moments along the way that you're like, oh my God, like my kid is amazing. I love doing this. Does it make the hard moments disappear? No, but it makes them worth it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's funny as they get older and they're able to express that back to you, right? Like it makes it like even more rewarding, you know? Like even just when Alice started smiling, right? I'm like, oh,
yeah,
you like me. I'm doing something okay. And then they get older and then they say your name for the first time and you're like,
oh my God,
you melt inside and you're like, you know me and you look to me and you are, you know, asking for mama. And then they get old enough that they're like, you know, Grace's new thing is she goes, you're just the best mom ever. And it's like,
I'm literally going to cry. I cannot wait.
It's the best thing. August is going to look at you someday and say, you're the best mom ever. And you're going to be like, okay, I'm doing something right.
Oh my God, I can't wait. That's really cute.
It's freaking awesome.
I'm actually crying.
And like, even if you're watching this and you're a new mom, or if you're trying to think of what to say to hype up a new mom, like just knowing that you're going to do great. And if you're thinking about it, like Kenzie said, you're already in the right place. And like Rachel said, your instincts will kick in and you are the best parent for your kid. And, it's hard, but it's so rewarding and so amazing.
Let's do it again.
And it's like, it's weird too, because this part of like parenting, right, and having a small child is such a tiny blip in the amount of time that you're going to have with your kids.
I know, that's crazy.
Like I read somewhere like, oh, the majority of the time you know your kid will be as an adult. And that's crazy. But then to think about how even in that, like when they're a teenager, it's a totally different relationship than like when they're this young and they need you this much.
Yeah.
And I feel like that also puts it in perspective of when things get hard, be like, this is such a small window.
That's an interesting thought. I've never thought about it that way.
And it feels like forever sometimes when you're in it.
Well, I think that's why I already want to have another kid, because I'm like, he's growing up so fast, I simply need another baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know the idea of August like growing up and speaking and talking and having his own opinions and straight up being a person is, I cannot wait. Like I just cannot wait. Because right now he's a little potato. Yeah. A perfect potato, but still.
All right. Well, I do have a woo girl moment to share.
Woo!
This is easy for you guys. All you have to do is woo. So no pressure.
I already did it.
Just get your best woos ready. Today's woo girl moment is from Jordan, who says, my woo girl moment is that I graduated with my Bachelor of Arts this weekend. I did so with a double freaking major in psychology and linguistics. Now, time for a master's in communication disorders and sciences to become a speech pathologist. It's giving boss woman. That's what she said.
Oh my God.
Snaps for you. Oh, well, not snaps, because what are we doing here?
Woo!
1,
Sorry.
2, 3. Woo! Proud of you. That's freaking cool.
That is
Incredible. We love a smarty.
Yeah.
A speech pathologist, that's very cool.
Super cool.
She could teach our children how to talk.
I'm like, so important for kids, too.
right. Correct.
Well, congrats, Jordan. We're so happy to be able to celebrate that woo girl moment. A big accomplishment. If you want to submit your woo girl moment, something that we can celebrate for you, big or small, maybe it's that you just graduated and are on your way to becoming a speech pathologist, or maybe that it's that you got out of bed today and that was really hard, and anything in between. We're proud of you. And you can leave those down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, you two, for being here and momcasting with me.
Thank you for having us.
This was fun.
You guys can follow Kenzie and Rachel on Instagram. And Rachel also has a vlog channel, which, can I just take this second to shout out? I am obsessed with your vlogs.
Thank you.
I literally don't miss
It's hard
one.
for me to take a comment about the vlogs, but thank you
They're so
much.
good.
Thank you.
They
No,
are
thank
good.
you. I
and they're
appreciate
funny
it.
and they're real.
Yes.
Well, that's true. But no, thank
You're
you.
like, you're right.
No, but when you're right, you're right. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you so much. I'm actually very proud of my YouTube channel right now.
You
so.
should be.
Thank you.
And to do that while being a mom is hard.
It's been challenging.
A working mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I learned it from my favorite vlogger.
Me.
What if I was like,
I was waiting for you to be like, Miss Remy Ashton.
no, of course it's Sierra. Of course it's Sierra.
Oh, thank you.
This
Love
was
you
fun.
guys. Thank you for being here.
I'll do it whenever you want.
All right.
I'll be your 30-something correspondent.
Thank you. We need you. There's going to be one more episode with me and a special guest before Riayn and Paloma come back episode after next. So be looking out for that, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Please note that this episode may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products and services. Individuals on the show may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to in this episode.